to another episode of Woman Witness Podcast, The Stories at the Well. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here in Woman Witness Podcast, we create a platform and an environment where women can come and share their story and share their truth. Today, I have an amazing episode for you today. I want to introduce you to my first guest. Her name is Eboni Stiff. She's a multi-talented woman of God who has achieved great things with a master's degree in social work and a position as a broker associate at Allure Realty. She has proven herself to be an accomplished professional. Moreover, she has successfully managed a bail bonds company for over a decade. And in the face of medical malpractice and victimization, Ebony has emerged victorious by becoming a published author and an inspiration to others. Despite enduring breast cancer, 19 surgeries, and failed relationships, Ebony has undiminished positivity that shines through, and she remains grateful for absolutely everything. I would like to introduce you to Eboni Stiff. Hey, Ebony, welcome to the well.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I know that you could have chosen any platform and any podcast to come to, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for choosing to bring your story here at the well. And I know that we're going to be blessed by your story. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for creating a space where we can come and just pour out and be ourselves. So thank you.
That's what it's all about, Ebony. I know that our stories and what we've been through, I know that they're geared to help someone else. And any chance that I get to have an amazing story land in my inbox, and I was like, wow, you know what? Let me don't get ahead of myself. Let me calm. Okay, I want to let you tell the story. Let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ebony. Who are you?
Okay, so I am a birth mother of two, but a sports mom to many. So I have
Oh.
many kids that I've watched grow up in the sports world. So I like to call
What
myself
sport,
a
Ebony?
sports mom. Track and field and football.
Oh,
So
okay. Did
I
you run track yourself?
no, I didn't run. Actually, I used to
Oh,
swim, but
oh,
no, I didn't.
okay.
I didn't run at all. So I don't know where my kids got that gene from. They didn't get it from me. I own a bail bonds company. I've been doing that for over a decade, as you mentioned. I also am a broker associate going into my third year of doing that. Yes, so I'm excited about that. And then I'm a newly self-published author. I did that this year on my birthday. I published my first book. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Have you always wanted to be a published author?
No, actually, no.
No.
It just kind of happened through life and through
Yeah.
things that I've been through, and everyone that I would encounter would be like, "You should write a book. You should write a book. You should write a book." So I was like, "You know what?
I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
write a book.
write a book. I'm gonna write a book." So now,
Love
and
it.
then I also own a transaction coordinator company that I
Oh,
started
wow.
last year for real estate agents. So yes.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I want to ask you, this is not in my notes, but I have my real estate license, but it's a lot of work. So tell me, how did you get into that field?
So actually in real estate, I was actually being asked a lot by other people that I know that were in real estate to
Mhm.
asking me to help them with different tasks. And it
Hmm.
was like speaking a foreign language to me. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. I was like, it's like, what? You want me to do what? You want me to look over this? And I'm like, it's kind of not the same, as
Yeah.
because sometimes people think when you own a company, you can do all the things.
All the
And
things. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, okay, so
I
I was like,
love
you
it.
know what? Let me just go ahead and get my real estate license so I can help other people in my family that needed help.
Wow, that is so cool. That's so cool. I mean, my hat goes off to you. I do want to talk to you because you are a multiple business owner. It's so scary to, start your own business at times. And not only have you started one business for over a decade, but you started another one. So tell us a little bit of background about how that came about as far as starting your first business and then branching out to starting another one and being a mom.
Actually was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 28.
Wow.
So while I was doing that, I was working in the social work field, and then I was also delivering mail at the time. So I
Wow.
couldn't do any of that. So because I went through chemo treatment for a year, then I went through hormonal treatment for 10 years. So
Wow.
while I was at home with my 2 children, very
Mhm.
young, I said, I need a job where I can kind of work for me and
Yeah.
still provide for my family. Literally what happened, my sister, unfortunately, she passed away from breast cancer 3 years ago. It's okay. We're okay. But she,
Mhm.
everyone who knows me knows she would go to jail for misdemeanors a lot.
Yeah.
And while I was home, literally after treatment one day, she had, went to jail for misdemeanor, and
Mhm.
she's asking me a lot of questions. And I was like, you know what? There's a million people in the world just like you that need help, that need to get out. And I said, if I can help you and do what I need to do from home while I'm in treatment, then I could do this for everyone else. So I looked it up, studied what I needed to do to start the bail bonds business. I actually was still going through chemo treatment when I finished the class, and then I started the bail bond business. And then, it's like she never went to jail again after that.
And she never went to jail again
Mhm.
after that. Did you
No,
educate her of like, listen, here's what you need to do to stay out of jail?
right? But then I was kind of mad. I was like, you're supposed to get me clients. Like, how are you going to get me clients? You're not going to jail. So it was a running joke in the family, but I loved it. I was so happy that she didn't go anymore, but she didn't go after that. So
Look, God works in mysterious ways. He did that thing to push you into your purpose
yes,
or push you into something. Look.
yes,
And then he's like,
yes,
now I'm gonna deliver her from going to jail.
yes. So I loved it. I was able to work, make money, didn't have
That's amazing.
and I fell in love with just making my own schedule. So I never missed a school play, a sport,
Wow.
an award ceremony. So I just loved it. And I said, you know what, I don't think I could ever go back
Wow.
to a 9 to 5.
Just for some of our listeners who are listening, and we do have small children, and that is the one thing, kind of what you said right there. And this is not even in my notes, but you said that, about missing those school plays and those moments, and also taking that leap to branch out and start your own business. I think that that speaks volumes to us to let us know that, there is a way. There is a way, and it may not be, starting a bail bonds company, but it might be, like you said, going into real estate, which I want to talk to you about as well, and even writing a book, because your book gets you booked. Just saying.
Yeah,
um,
it was so important to me, and then also it's important to my kids, and they didn't realize until they got older the difference, because my her father had to tell her, he said, what your mom does for you is not normal. Like most parents have to
mm,
go to work, and they can't come
yeah,
to every sporting event and every practice and
yeah,
everything that you have. So,
yeah,
it took them a while when they got older and they realized, and then so they appreciate it.
yeah,
So now it's
yeah,
expected, and they're older and they can
yeah.
drive. I'm like,
Oh no, they're driving now.
do I have to come? They're like, yes. Where are you?
Oh. Oh, I love that so much. I love that. So that gives a lot of hope to women like, myself and other women who may be listening, that there is a way out there. There is other avenues. I want to talk to you about your experience with a medical malpractice. You went through 19 surgeries. I want you to tell us briefly about what happened and how you managed to overcome that difficulty.
With my 19 surgeries, so I've had
Mhm.
scoliosis,
Oh,
glaucoma,
wow.
breast cancer, mastectomy,
Oh,
reconstruction, and then after 10 years of hormonal treatment, I
mhm.
was advised that I should undergo a hysterectomy. So I said, okay. I said, okay, because they said I was at risk for the breast cancer returning because of my age
Mhm.
and the hormones and things of that nature.
Mhm.
So I said, okay. So I went and did the hysterectomy. During that procedure is where I actually became the victim of medical malpractice. The
Oh.
doctor punctured my colon during that surgery, did not tell me, did
Didn't
not,
tell you.
nope, didn't tell me, didn't put it in my notes, and sent me home the same day of my surgery. Yeah. So I got home. Mhm. Went home with some pain meds, like, oh, this. Told my mom, my aunt, my significant other that were there, oh, the surgery went great. She's doing well.
Yeah.
Sent me to the recovery room. Went home. I have a very high tolerance for pain because at that point, I was probably on my 16th or 17th surgery. So,
Wow.
yeah. So I'm home. I'm like, this isn't right. Like, I don't feel good. Like, something's not right. I'm like, I took the pain medicine. I'm still in pain. Call the doctor. Oh, if you're still in pain. So this surgery was on a Thursday. If you're still in pain, come back Monday. Yeah, come back Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Monday.
Whoa. They
I'm like,
usually call you 24 hours after surgery, right?
she said, come back Monday.
Monday.
He said, come back Monday. I'm like,
Wow.
okay. So I literally woke up in the middle of the night it was Saturday night leading into Sunday,
Saturday?
screaming. My significant other jumped out. He's like, I didn't know we were being robbed. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh,
You were screaming because I woke him up out of his sleep. It was so much going on at the time. Like, just take me back to the hospital where the surgery happened. I didn't want to go to
right.
the first hospital. I wanted to go back to where that
Right.
surgery happened. So basically, when I got there, I thought I was gonna, they were just gonna give me some meds and, send me on my way. It
Mm.
turned into she can't eat anything, she can't drink anything. We're opening up the surgery room. If she doesn't go right now, she's gonna die. And
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm just high off of every medication that they have given me. I'm giving thumbs up. They're like, do you know what's happening? Did you hear what he said? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I just know I'm in
Oh,
pain and I want it to stop. So at this point, I didn't know what happened to me. I just know that I was told I was going into surgery. It was a 50-50 chance that I may or may not have a colostomy bag. They didn't know until they got in there and they willed me away. Short version. So I wake up with this colostomy bag and I'm like, how you're processing everything that happened because I was like, yeah, thumbs up, like let's go. All I know I was in pain. I didn't care what it was going to take to make it stop. After surgery, I come to. So basically, that's when I found out that my colon was punctured and I needed the colostomy bag to survive because my body had become septic over the course from Thursday through Sunday morning when I had the surgery. So
oh my gosh.
that was how I became the victim of the medical malpractice
So
and medical
that's sad.
negligence. Yeah, it's bad.
That's
It
sad.
hurts because it's like you didn't even care about me enough as a human being to at least put in my chart or say, "Hey, I think I made a mistake. Let's keep her
Right.
here to watch over her to see
Yeah.
maybe." It's like, "Nope, you're fine. You're doing good. Oh, you're in pain. Just take some more medicine. Come back Monday." I wouldn't have lived till Monday.
No, you wouldn't have lived to
I wouldn't
Monday.
have, and nobody would have known what happened to me because it's not in my chart. It's not my medical chart. It's in my medical chart now because it got
Now,
fixed. Because the other doctor had to put in what he did and
what?
why he did it. So now it's in my chart. But before that, there's no record.
That makes, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ebony, because right now it's so big and black. We talk about women of color dying every day. Just for going to the hospital for to have a baby, or for going for small things that doesn't have to be. And for me, I'm so sorry to hear that happen to you, and I'm glad that you are here talking about it because something needs to be done. Something definitely needs to be done. Our voices need to be heard. We can't just go in for a surgery and trust the people who are supposed to take care of us, and we come out. You know what I mean. If God didn't have His hand on you, you wouldn't be here. But so now you have. Okay, I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna calm down. I'm sorry, Ebony.
It's fine because it's like you said, if God did not have his hand on me in the mix and
Okay.
everyone around me, and I just thank God that I had people around me in my home to listen to me because that's a struggle within itself. Because at
Yeah.
first my mom was like, "Oh, lay down, it's just gas."
Yeah.
They're bringing me water, and I'm like, I had to get to a point where I'm like, just stop, just take me
Take
back.
me.
to where it
Yeah.
happened, because and for me, it was so important to go back to that place, because I'm like, you guys have my entire record for over the last 10 years. You know
Yeah.
everything medically that has happened to me. So I didn't want to go to another emergency room where they were going to be trying to figure out, okay, what happened? Oh, it's just complications
Right.
from the surgery. Go home.
Go home.
No. So we always have to advocate for ourselves. And it's important to have people around us that listen to us, that will advocate for us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a powerful story to tell, and I'm glad that you're out here talking about it and advocating for women, especially women of color right now, and it has to be done. It has to be done, and your voice is going to be uplifted and magnified, and it's going to be heard. I know it is. Okay. All right. Sorry. I gotta move on. I'm so sorry. I get excited about stuff like this because something has to change. Okay. Moving on to the different aspect of your life, you mentioned that you had faced failed relationships. How did you find the strength to keep going and believe in love again after experiencing disappointments?
My 2 children gave me the strength to keep going. It's so weird because I don't think of myself as a normal person. I'm always thinking outside of the box. And you know how some
Yeah.
people stay in relationship for kids? I left for
For
my
my
kids
kids.
because I couldn't imagine them being in a hostile environment. Like, how is that going to help them in
Wow.
their situation? If mommy and daddy's not getting along, we're not
Wow.
speaking,
Yeah.
the eye rolling, or the slick
Yeah.
things that we can
Yeah.
do. I wasn't
They see that.
perfect. I
Yep.
wasn't perfect, but I'm like, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. So I left for my kids so that we
Mm,
could be happy, and we
yeah.
could have just a safe space, and we're comfortable when we came home. And
Yeah.
so I love love though. So I'm like, I'm not giving up. I love love. So
I love that. I
I
love that you love love.
love love. I'm like, somebody's gonna love me and I'm gonna love them back, and it's gonna be right. And
Amen.
yeah, so
Amen.
I started dating again and found someone who I think loves me for me, and I
Yeah.
love him for him. I even asked my kids, I'm like, what do you think What do you think
And
about
kids are
this
good
season?
judge of character.
And they know, because that's somebody that's gonna be coming into our world, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
if it's not right, it wasn't gonna go. It wasn't gonna fly.
What would you say to some of our listeners who are listening? And you said something to me that I believe even this is a podcast that's directed towards women. And, and you said something, a lot of people stay for their kids, but you left because of your kids. So give some women some advice on how to change that thinking, or how can they shift that thinking, because it's hard to shift that thinking. I mean, we, especially the way some of us grow up, you watch your grandmothers and you watch your mother, you go through the same thing, but they just stuck it out for the kids, right? So how do we shift that thinking?
I think we actually invite our kids in and have conversations with them about, how are you feeling? How are you feeling at home?
Mm,
What is this environment like for you? Because we just kind of assume what it's like, because we feel like we're working, they have food on the table,
yeah,
they have hot water, they have lights, they have a roof over their
yeah.
head, so they're good. And I don't think we ever sit down and take the time to ask them, how do you feel in this
How do you
environment?
feel?
How do you feel when you see mommy and daddy interact? What would you like to
Yeah,
see happen? Because it affects them as well. And I know
yeah.
there's a lot of talk about, like, how divorce affects the kids, but how does being in a toxic relationship affect
Affect
the
kids.
kids? So I think
Amen.
inviting
Yeah,
them in and asking them their opinion, and how it makes them feel, because they're living in it too. They're in the relationship with you too, whether you realize it or not. You're
yeah.
all in the relationship together.
Yeah, and they're probably picking up on habits, just as if it was a healthy environment. This is how they're going to, pick their significant other. This is how they're going to interact with their boyfriend or their girlfriend when they get to that age. So I do agree with that. I do agree with that. And I think it's important that we do change that shifting and alter it. So I'm glad that you had that rock of your children being able to pull you through those difficulties and pull through transitioning from one situation to another, a more healthier situation. So that's such a powerful journey of self-discovery. I want to talk to you about your experiences with, we talked a little bit about your experience with breast cancer. Now, how did you maintain hope and resilience during the battle and the challenges with the disease itself?
That's when I found myself getting closer to God. I was always raised, my mom would say, if you don't go to church, you got to go to Sunday school, because we were little. So she's like, you may not
Yeah,
understand what your pastor is saying, as a little
yeah,
kid. So I've always
yeah,
had a relationship with God. And it
yeah.
was one sermon I'll never forget. The pastor was teaching about how the devil doesn't come to play with you, he comes to kill and destroy you. And I was like, you can't have me.
Mm.
You cannot have me.
Mm.
You can't have, I am not anything to be played with. Go find you something
Amen.
safe to do, because I am
Amen.
not it. I am not
Yeah.
it. You can't have me. And that stuck with me. And I said I was going to do everything in my power to make sure that the devil did not kill or destroy me physically, mentally, emotionally, none of that. So I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot
Mm.
when I wasn't physically able to go to church. Thankfully, my church, even at that time, we could watch it online, the YouTube
Oh,
videos. It wasn't
wow.
live at that time, but they would always upload the YouTube videos
Uploaded.
later. Or we could
Yeah.
buy tapes. At that time, I could buy tapes.
The
I,
videotapes,
yes,
yes.
I would buy the tapes and listen. Um, and then my family, my mom has always been there
That's
through everything. My mom was there, and my dad also as well, up until he passed away from cancer, lung cancer as well. Just my family support, my faith in God has carried me through. And like I said, my kids are my everything.
Do you know the age that they start checking for mammograms? I believe it's almost like now, I think they said 50 or 60 is when they start even checking for. I know you go with your annual, but to actually do a mammogram, right?
Right. So I had to advocate for that for myself, because I was 28 years old when
Yeah.
I was diagnosed. I was misdiagnosed the first
Mm,
time. I said I have a lump in my breast because I was breastfeeding. I did all the things that I was told that would help,
yeah.
not breast. And the doctor
Mm,
told me, he says, you drink a lot of soda, so I think that's just some type of calcium buildup. I was like, that makes no sense. I was like, that makes absolutely no sense. So I wrestled with it for a little bit. Mind you, I'm working full time, and I'm like, oh, the lump will go away. And I just had to advocate. So I don't know what happened with me. I had him do a lumpectomy. A lumpectomy is when they actually take the lump out that they find, and they run testing on it. So for me, lucky me, he didn't do a lumpectomy. He decided, while I was on the table for me, he was going to do a biopsy instead. So what he in turn did was basically take a tumor and cut it and left half of it in me and took the other half out. So when I went for my follow-up appointment a week later to get the results, he walks in the room and he says, "Oh, I'm surprised. It was some cancer in there." I said, "What?" So I had to be
oh,
rushed off to surgery
again,
again I said, well, you did a
record.
lumpectomy, so I'm fine. He goes, no, I decided to do a biopsy because I didn't think anything was wrong. I'm so sorry. So what ended up happening for me, because at that point, it was already determined I had cancer, I went right into the mammogram. Yeah. So
It happened to you again? Wait, this was the first
that
time.
happened to me first. And then the other one yeah. Whew.
Okay, I need to know your nonprofits. What are you, girl? What do you have going on right now for voices for women
I'm
who are
getting it
victims of?
started because I'm getting it all started now and mapped out, because like I literally had just ended treatment 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then I thought I was done. And then I got wrapped right back into
Into
the
the
medical malpractice issue. Yeah. So now I'm completely done. Last year was my first year without any
Jesus.
surgeries, any issues. Thank God for that. So I had
Yeah.
a big party. I revealed the book. I was
Yes.
super excited. Just to enjoy a year with no surgeries,
Nothing.
nothing.
I can see you right now with a nonprofit going from different medical meetings to just getting in front of some of these doctors and like, making your voice be heard and letting it be heard, because I think they need to hear it too. They need to actually see the victim in front of them. And I'm not saying all doctors are like that. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But you are a human being. Like, these things need to be taken seriously. And I think because so many of us, we don't like going to the doctor, we're afraid of it, and we are afraid of the results that we may get. So sometimes we just don't even say anything. I need to find out, and any listeners who are listening who know what the age is that they start checking for mammograms, and can we just go and ask for one? Will our insurance cover it? And if it doesn't cover it, how much does it cost? Because I mean, if you got diagnosed at 28, why are we waiting until like 50, 60 years old? I mean, that's too late.
It's way too late. And I was always the youngest in the room. When my mom would
Mm.
go with me, they would think that she's the patient.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Mm.
no, it's me. It's happening. And it's just not being caught in time
It's
because they want to fit us into a statistic that is that really the correct statistic?
yeah,
Because like how many of us, have passed away that we didn't
yeah,
know what it was
yeah.
because we didn't fit the statistics, so we didn't get the test.
At the test. You found your lump yourself. And I know that when I go for my annual, I know that my doctor actually shows me how to do it. How did you know how to check and find your lump?
So when I went for because I was breastfeeding,
Yeah.
so my doctor would I had the pamphlets, to say, "Hey, check for this and check for
Right.
that." So I checked while I was in the shower. So when I was in the
Yeah.
in the shower, I would hold my arm up, do the circular motion to check,
Yeah.
and I found the lump. So I wasn't concerned immediately. Maybe it's something with, the breastfeeding and something, but it didn't go away and it was very, very hard. So that's why I decided
Mm.
to get it checked. I just knew to check because I got the pamphlets and it talked
Yeah.
about it because I was breastfeeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's good to know. I think it's something that we definitely all need to do. If ladies, if you're out there listening, I believe it's important to, check monthly, check weekly. I mean, in the shower, I think that's a good idea. I know I do. And of course, I know that if you are doing your annuals, I think now they moved it to 2 years. I'm not sure, but I know I do my annual. Your doctor will check for you. I think it's something that we definitely need to pay more attention to. Thank you, Ebony, for sharing that. So, okay, your faith and your resilience shine through your words. It's truly all inspiring. And as we wrap up this conversation, I want you to tell us where we can find your book and tell us what inspired you to write it.
So what inspired me to write it? So I titled it Speak Now, Never Hold Your Peace. That title,
Yeah.
yes. So it talks about my journey in the hospital after I found out what happened to me with the medical malpractice. And the reason I said speak now, never hold your peace is
Never.
because every single person that I spoke to try to get legal legal things in place, I was always told, okay, you can't talk about it. Don't post
Mm.
about it. Don't tell anybody. Don't do this. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
I'm listening to him. I'm like, okay, and then a month or two later, oh, we can't take your case. Oh, you're
Why?
fine now. Oh, because you're fine now, so we can't take your case. I'm like,
Huh?
who who told you that? But
Right.
okay. I'm like, oh, okay. So then it just hit me like literally. I was in church and the pastor was talking about having a voice and speaking. And I said, you know what? They're trying to take my voice. They're not going to take my case, but they want my voice. I said, I don't care about the case anymore. I'm going to speak about what's happened to me because I'm sure I'm not the only one. And hopefully it inspires someone to keep going. And although, life throw curveballs at you, just give it to God. Say, hey, you made these people. You deal with it. You made me, and I'm gonna get everything you promised me. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going.
I love that so much. And so that inspired your book. I see it now. That's going to be the foundation that you're going to put together your nonprofit, and you're going to put together a whole ministry to go out there and give more women back their voices.
The voice. Yes, yes.
Mm.
And you can find the book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I created an Instagram shop. I figured that out. It was hard.
Yay!
It
So
was hard.
you can purchase it on
My
Instagram.
Instagram at Ebony Stiff. So everything is my name. It's EBONI with an I, STIFF. So that's where you can purchase the book on any online site, or you can download it. The e version is also, the ebook is also available.
Amazing, amazing. Well, congratulations on your first of many books. I know that you have such a great story. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for coming to the well and sharing your story. I'd love to give the floor back to my guests, and I want you to leave some advice here at this well. I want you to pour one last time. If there's one more thing that you have to say to some of our listeners out there, give us some words of wisdom that you like us to take with us throughout the week.
Okay, so I would like you to never give up on yourself. Never let anyone take your voice from you. That is one of the most powerful things that you can have.
Mm.
And never give up on God, because He will not give up on you.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Ebony, for joining us here at the well. You truly inspired me. You got me fired up this morning. I feel so sorry for my next guest after you because I am on 10 right now. Look, I'm ready to just write something. Oh my goodness. Okay. Ladies, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Woman Witness Podcast, The Stories at the Well. I would like to thank my guest, Ebony Stiff, for coming in and sharing her awe-inspiring story. If you think that you have a story that you want to share, you think that you'd be a good guest on our show, you can always email us at info@womanwitness.com. That's info@womanwitness.com. I will leave all the contact information for Ebony's books and her websites. Go and follow her. Go and share this podcast episode with someone who you believe that can really truly benefit from this conversation. Until next time, perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write and to tell your story, your truth. Bye.